and nationwide news feed. Let's talk about it. Dialect to do something about it. Chip got the flow wide open if you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings it to you raw. To solve all problems, it starts with real talk. It's 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 real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
And here we go on a very frigid evening in the city, 6 o'clock straight up, which means it is time for an all new and brand new Real Talk Memphis. Glad to have you with us. If you are with us this evening, I am your humble host. My name is Chip Washington. It is great to be here on this day we celebrate as the King holiday, January 20th, 2025. Of course, a lot of folks were off today. The saying on this particular holiday is it is a day on, not a day off. So however you choose to serve on this particular holiday, that's a good thing. That's why we're here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It's a day on, not a day off. Life goes on. Dr. King would be very, very happy about that. We have a great show for you this evening. We will run down the lineup in just a moment, but how do you get this fine piece of radio broadcasting? Well, I will let you know. Many ways, of course. 91.7 on your FM dial, whichever where we are right now on WYXR. You can also catch us on the WYXR app. We are also available on the TuneIn app live. And we will be live streaming this evening on Facebook Live for those of you who may want to tune in and check that part of it out. In the next couple of days after the show post, you can catch us, the audio version of all of this on YouTube. And as we are a podcast, you did know we were a podcast, right? You can catch us wherever you get your podcast. So that's something to look forward to a bit later on in the week. When I got here, it was about 24 degrees outside. So it is very, very cold. If you have to go out this evening, bundle up, layer up, get your favorite coat or jacket, whatever warms you up, and put that on. Put some on your head too, if you can, if you need to, as well. Because wind chills later on tonight, early tomorrow morning, will be in the single digits. Just letting you know, winter has not left us yet. In terms of the broadcast tonight, we do have a good show this evening. Let's see here. State Representative. I got all kinds of things floating through my head. State Representative GA Hardaway will be joining me on the show in just a few minutes. Of course, the session, the legislative session, is in effect in Nashville. There are lots going on there, and I have him on the show because, and we'll talk about this in a minute. He is proposing a very interesting bill. In light of some of the doings and goings on here in Memphis and Shelby County. More on that in a minute. A little bit later on, we are going to be speaking with Yolanda Cooper Sutton. She will join me. She, of course, is a city councilwoman. We haven't checked in on the city in a while, but I want to get her take on a few things like MATA. And, of course, I want to also find out about how she feels about the loss of the COGIC convention. Of course, COGIC, if you hadn't heard, is wrapping up their 3 years here in Memphis, and they'll be heading back to St. Louis next year and 2 years after that as well. Question is, what, if anything, can Memphis do to try to get those folks to come back to the birthplace of COGIC? We'll find out about that as well. And a little bit later on in the broadcast, domestic violence is something that we talk about fairly frequently because it is a big problem here in Memphis and Shelby County that we can't run away from. I think it was exacerbated in many instances when we were all kind of relegated to home confinement during the COGIC day. I mean, the what is it? COVID days. The COVID days. Anyway, there's a new task force initiative by the Memphis Police Department that is in effect, and we're going to have a couple of folks talking with us about that a little bit later on. Lieutenant Gloria Suggs and Forrest Edwards, who is a legal counsel. So there you go. That's the lineup for tonight. And we hope that you are going to sit back, relax, and stay warm and comfortable with us because, well, it's too cold to do anything else. Stay home. Just stay home and relax, and then hit the box and get you some dinner and relax. Now, of course, there are some birthdays today. Many people were born on this day. And, of course, if you celebrated your birthday over the weekend or today or this week, it's special. It's a special time for you making that next trip around the sun. We celebrate that here. We call it shout out. I can't do it until I say, hit it, Brent.
Happy birthday!
All right. Happy birthday going out to the following folks. Will Richardson celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday to Rhonda Treadwell, to Barbara Ann Johnson. Elaine Baker celebrating happy birthday to you. And let's see here. Wilma Baker is celebrating. And Ruthie Blaylock. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the return of lovely Lola with a birthday shout out.
Happy belated birthday to Miss Avery Jett, to DJ Alpha Whiskey, our very own WYXR DJ Alpha Whiskey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a happy heavenly to Miss Aaliyah. We miss you, girl.
All right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Lola. And listen, for all of you who may be celebrating your birthday, congratulations on your current trip around the sun. We hope here at Real Talk Memphis to be with you next year as you celebrate your next trip around the sun. Thank you, Brent. All right, so I mentioned at the top that today is the King holiday. And of course, lots of, this is the time when we celebrate and commemorate the life and legacy of the great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. At the National Civil Rights Museum. There were lots of activities. There were some other things going on around town today. I was at the Civil Rights Museum earlier this morning, and to see the sea of people walking in, different races, different creed, different backgrounds, and more importantly, lots of families that were there bringing their young folks in to see and to learn as well. So that was a wonderful experience, and was wonderful to be there for that as well. We inaugurated another president of the United States today. Former 45 is now 47. Donald Trump was inaugurated earlier today. He is now the new president of the United States for the next 4 years. Depending on how you feel about that, one way or another, it is fact. So we have to sit back now and wait and see how all of this unfolds as time moves along. Let me see. I wanted to talk about this cold. We are in the midst now of some dangerous cold. These are the coldest temperatures we're going to see, or at least we've seen so far, with temperatures barely reaching 30 degrees yesterday. We were in the 20s all day today. As I stated earlier, the wind chill tonight will be going into tomorrow morning will be in the single digits. We'll see 20-degree temperatures to about Wednesday, and then maybe on Thursday we might see a 40, which is still cold, but it's not as cold as 20, right? So all of the cold weather rules apply. Watch out for other folks. Take care of your elderly folks. Check on them. Make sure that they're okay. They have heat. They have heat, and they have everything. They're comfortable and have everything they need. Of course, to keep your pets inside, because that cold can affect them too. And of course, if you like plants and things like that, you may want to bring some of those that tender vegetation inside. The warming centers in and around the city of Memphis, all of them are open. and they are open until further notice, which means that they're open until temperatures warm up just a bit, okay? So if you have any information or you want to know more information about that, you can call the city of Memphis. I know the Hospitality Hub is part of all of this as well. All right, so Tuesday, which is tomorrow, is a big day in this city. It is Decision Day in this city. What am I talking about? Well, tomorrow evening, the Memphis and Shelby County School Board meets, and they have called a specially called meeting at 7 o'clock to discuss whether or not to fire the current superintendent of education, Dr. Marie Feagins. This is obviously, this has all been going on for a while now. It's coming to a head, and tomorrow night there will be a vote. The MSCS 5, as I like to call them, are the dissenting voices here, and we will see. There's a 9-member board. We will see what happens. Will the 5 vote to remove Dr. Feagins? If that is the case, she will be removed immediately. Now the question is, will it be with cause or without cause? One will cost the city, I would imagine, or the county, about $500,000 in salary to her. The other folk, like I said, we know that there are 2 in particular who are very much against this. Public sentiment is on the side of Dr. Feagins. There was a march over the weekend. There have been rallies around this city in reference to her as well. We are talking right now about a sitting superintendent who has been in the seat not even a year and has already apparently gotten the ire of a few of the board members in question. Now, 3 of the 4 newly elected school board members have only been in their seats a little less than 4 months. So now you're asking yourself, well, how can this group, who wasn't even around when Dr. Feagins was chosen, run things enough after 3 or know enough after 3 or 4 months to decide to vote her out? I would imagine that the city, the meeting tomorrow night, which starts at 5, I think at 5 or 5:30, will be very crowded, very packed room tomorrow. So if you plan on going, there will be allowing some public comment. If you get that opportunity, let's not act foolish, okay? Many of you will probably be bringing your young people to witness all of this. If you do, remember that you brought a young person to witness all of this, and everyone else in the room should be cognizant as well. We can protest all we want to, but what we need to understand is there is a way to do everything, okay? So let's do it the right way. That's tomorrow, so we'll see what happens, man. That's a big deal. Let me see here. Oh, and by the way, one last story before we go to commercial break. For those of you who like TikTok, I'm not on TikTok. Lola's waving her hands over there. You still got your TikTok? Is it still working? Okay. So there's this big, they were going to remove it. They were going to ban it here in the United States. They did. Well, she said they did for 8 hours. But apparently President Trump said that he was going to put a pause on that for right now and see if he can negotiate something with China. China owns this. So for you TikTok fans, including Lola, congratulations. Okay, I don't do TikTok, so I don't really, but I know what it's about. But yeah. Anyway, let's take our first break, shall we? When we come back, let's get into the broadcast. We have a lot of important information that we want to give you this evening. I'm Chip. You know who you are. Let's take our first break, and we'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Support
Support for WYXR, including the 2024 Raised by Sound Festival, comes from Global Cafe, serving authentic dishes from Mexico, Venezuela, Sudan, and more. Global Cafe hosts immigrant food entrepreneurs cooking an eclectic mix of dishes in crosstown concourse, offering online ordering for pickup and delivery. More information at globalcafememphis.com.
Support for WYXR comes from Freedom Prep Academy, celebrating 15 years of academic excellence, preparing all students in grades pre-K through 12 to excel in college and in life. With 5 schools in Westwood and Whitehaven, Freedom Prep is now enrolling for the 2025-26 school year. More information on enrollment at freedomprep.org or 901-498-1849.
I'm Patrick Tamburino, host of the Techno Strategist podcast. Join me as we navigate the ever-evolving world of IT managed services and beyond. We'll explore everything from selecting the ideal tech partner to the forefront of cutting-edge technologies, all infused with my own unique perspective and hopefully a touch of humor. Don't forget to tune in to the Techno Strategist on the WYXR Podcast Network. For more information, head over to wyxr.org.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this cool, chilly, cold Monday evening, whatever word you like to use to apply. But we are back in studio and very happy to be here. And I'm very happy to have my first guest, a man that I have known and respected for a very long time. He cares about the people, no doubt about that. He is our state representative. He is Mr. GA Hardaway. And my friend, it is great to see you. And this is my first time having a chance to say Happy New Year to you.
Well, and a Happy New Year to you and all of our listeners out there. I appreciate you bringing in the new year the same way you took out 2024. And that's doing the people's business.
Man, we're trying to do it. Listen, and I thank you again for taking some time. I know that the legislative session has begun. I want to talk about, obviously, I sort of teased it a bit at the top. Tomorrow is a very, very big day here in the city because we're talking about the possibility of perhaps firing or relieving Dr. Marie Feagins, who is the superintendent of education, her duties. The Memphis and Shelby County schools. This has been going on now for a while. It's been messy. They faced a lot of criticism in reference to this. The public doesn't understand what is happening here. The public attention is very much on the side of Dr. Feagins. But I wanted to bring you on, not only to talk a little bit about that, but a very big time important bill, in my estimation, that you are trying to push through that would give voters the right to recall elected officials. Please tell us about that.
Well, House Bill 92 is what you're referencing. House Bill 92 is a bill, it's permissive in nature. Permissive meaning that it would take a local legislative body to actually enact it in that particular jurisdiction. Mm-hmm. Simple way to phrase that is the city council would have to vote the 2/3 of the city council in order to make it happen for the city of Memphis or any other municipality or metro region. The same thing for any of the 95 counties in the great state of Tennessee. It would take 2/3 of that body in order to enact the legislation. The legislation itself enables the people to do their job, which is holding elected officials accountable in between elections, scheduled elections. So it would take, number one, a citizen, a voter within that jurisdiction, let's say it was a city council person, it would take a voter within that city council district to request a petition from the election commission, and then to get 2/3 of the voters who actually voted in that election, where the city councilman won, in order to force a new election. And that new election would be run the same as the others in that particular jurisdiction.
Okay, so let me well broken down, simple to understand. Was the reason you did this in part what is happening with this whole school board deal, or is this something that's sort of been on your mind for a while now?
I've actually been running legislation similar to this for years. We actually had a bill that another legislator, Chris Todd, passed that enacted a recall provision that Madison County, only Madison County, could take advantage of.
Oh.
That fact within itself made it unconstitutional because there was no rational reason for Madison County to be the only county out of the 95 counties in Tennessee to be able to do it. The way that my bill is written, it's permissive in any of the 95 counties, any of the government entities in that 95 county legislative bodies, city council, metro council, or county commission could enact this. So that's the difference. That's what makes this bill I'm proposing constitutional. So it's not the first time we visited this particular type of effort to hold our elected officials accountable, but it's the first one that I believe is going to be held up by the courts as being constitutional.
Wow.
Now, let me emphasize that I looked at the elected officials from top to bottom.
Right.
The reason we don't have state elected officials in this is we're governed by the state constitution. It will take a state constitutional amendment to change the way that we're removed from office. Right now, the only way that I can be removed from the House of Representatives is for the House members to remove my membership. The same applies for a state senator. It would take the Senate to remove a state senator from that membership.
Well, listen, man, this is a big deal, a really big deal, because you're giving the people who voted in the first place for these various individuals, put them in the place that they're in, put them in office. You're giving them the right to say, listen, if you're not doing the job that we elected you to do, then we have the power, should this pass, to remove you from office. Now, we have heard, and I'm going back to the school board thing because this is what everybody's talking about. When this motion was still brought up, when it was first initially brought up to remove Dr. Feagins from her position, many people were very vocal at that meeting, saying, you know what, we will do a recall, find a recall provision to remove you. They couldn't do it at the time, but if this bill passes, they will have that opportunity should all the other things come to pass, correct?
Well, maybe not. Let me emphasize also, Skip, that this Chip, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
As I've told you before, I got a close cousin named Skip.
Yeah.
And I speak to him quite often. So this is not the final version, not the final draft, not the final language.
Right.
So I'm hearing from my various elected officials and on the city council, on the county commission, because these are the people who actually have to make this happen. So there may be a provision in the final draft that will allow for current officials to be held accountable upon passage, or that effective date may be in the future, or it may be that the current elected officials are exempted, and it would only take effect once a new elected official takes office. That won't be completely up to me, because it has to pass the state house, and it has to pass the state senate. And I'm hearing from my state representatives and my state senators on things that they may want in terms of amendments to the language I've written.
Sure. So this is going to be, it's a work in progress, is what you're saying. I mean, there are a lot of steps in this process. A lot of people have to weigh in to all of this.
Plus, it's a big move.
It is. It's a huge move. It's a huge move, man. Yeah.
And it's a high hurdle in order to enact it. 2/3 of the legislative body, city council, or county commission, or metro council, and 2/3 of the voters in that particular election that elected that official to even call a new election. So it's a high hurdle, and there should be a high hurdle in order to revisit any election.
Yeah,
the courts have the same type of principles that they involve when such a matter comes before them.
Exactly. Before we get out of here, I want to ask you your personal feelings in reference to the Memphis and Shelby County School Board, how this has been handled, the public outcry in reference to it. What are your thoughts?
Well, I have conversations on a regular basis with school board members and the employees, we'll say, with the Memphis City Schools, from the superintendent on down. What I would say is that all of this energy needs to be focused in between the crises. There are things that we can do in order to improve the educational outcomes, the educational opportunities for our children that we're not paying attention to until something blows up and catches us emotionally. So I'd like for us to have the same energy to put into play every day of the year. And that's right, I said every day of the year, because I believe there should be educational interactions with our elected officials. These county commission, for instance, they need to stay in their lane. I will give you that personal opinion. There are things that the county commission could do, such as putting a plan together to address that $1 billion deferred maintenance bill that our city, our Memphis and Shelby County schools need right now. $1 billion. Our children are going to subpar schools while you've got high-tech schools in Arlington, Germantown, Bartlett, Millington, Lakeland, etc. And yet our children are going to, in some instances, unsanitary and unsecured schools in a day on the day when we're concerned about terrorism, mass shootings, etc. We have some schools where the doors won't lock, and yet we've got other jurisdictions that are putting up bulletproof glass, putting in all type of early warning systems, etc. So we need to stay in our lanes and do the jobs that we're supposed to do as state elected officials, as county elected officials, as city elected officials, and let the school board do the job they were elected to do. My job is to provide them the tools to do their job better, and to provide the public the tools they need to do their job better, which is what? To hold elected officials accountable.
Yes, sir.
So everyone needs to stay in your lane, and we'll have better results. But yeah, I'm kind of sensitive about the fact that we've got some elected officials, county commissioners, who would serve to substitute their expertise for school board members. I don't know how the vote is going to go. I don't know enough to know how the vote should go. I do have concerns about due process. I think that's the one thing you and I have talked about in the past.
Yes.
I go back to Elton Hayes and Emmett Till and Tyree Nichols, and I say the due process is necessary if a black man is going to be free or a black woman is going to be free in America today. So I'm very concerned about due process, but I don't get into micromanaging other elected officials.
Got it. GA Hardaway, State Representative GA Hardaway, my friend, thank you for coming on the show tonight, and thank you for laying out some very important points that we all need to take note of. We'll all be keeping an eye on it, as you will, as I'm assuming, and we'll watch and see how this bill thing goes that you're talking about here, and we'll follow its progress, and I'll have you back on before the year is out. You can bet on that.
Well, thank you one more time, Chip, for allowing me to bring clarification to issues which have proven to be important to your listeners. And the better we can make them in terms of being informed, the better world that we're going to live in. So let's all get together on providing better opportunities, world-class educational opportunities for our children.
Yes, sir.
And that means bring that energy every day that we're seeing right now.
Yes, sir. Thank you, my friend. It's good to see you. You be safe on your travels, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Take care, and happy and blessed New Year to you.
You too, my friend. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. State Representative GA Hardaway laying out some very important information all of us need to hear. We'll take a break. When we come back, we will continue on this frigid and cold Monday edition. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Support for WYXR comes from AEG Presents, presenting Craftwork, coming to the Overton Park Show on Tuesday, March 25th of 2025. Tickets on sale now. More information at craftwork.com.
Support for WYXR, including the 2024 Raised by Sound Festival, comes from Global Cafe, serving authentic dishes from Mexico, Venezuela, Sudan, and more. Global Cafe hosts immigrant food entrepreneurs cooking an eclectic mix of dishes in crosstown concourse, offering online ordering for pickup and delivery. More information at globalcafememphis.com.
Shannon and Cecilia here. Do you love stories featuring community changemakers in Memphis? Don't miss Just Buffin', a feel-good podcast found online in the WYXR Podcast Network.
Access all our podcasts at wyxr.org.
In Memphis, when vulnerable seniors are in need and families are in crisis, they turn to MIFA. Meals on Wheels helps seniors stay healthy and independent. Family programs provide emergency assistance for utilities, rent, and mortgage. And the Long-Term Care Ombudsman program advocates for seniors in care facilities. Information and volunteer opportunities available at mifa.org/WYXR.
Programming for WYXR is brought to you by a grant from the Hyde Family Foundation, who is committed to creating a better future for the city of Memphis by supporting initiatives that enrich our city's cultural landscape.
Support for WYXR comes from the Orpheum Theater Group, presenting Dance Theater of Harlem, February 7th and 8th. The company performs a forward-thinking repertoire that includes treasured classics, neoclassical works, as well as innovative contemporary works that use the language of ballet to celebrate founder Arthur Mitchell's belief that ballet belongs to everyone. More information at orpheum-memphis.com.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to the big broadcast on this Monday evening. Chip with you. Glad to have you with us on this very cold and chilly night. We are also very glad to have our next guest to start this segment off. Domestic violence is a big issue in our city, in our county, and it is something that we are seeing more and more cases of. It is becoming more prevalent. As I said at the show, I think a lot of these cases sort of emanated when we were in the COVID shutdown area. And a lot of folks were confined to the home, and there was a lot of stress, people losing their jobs, and a lot of pressure. And a lot of the cases went up. Well, MPD is launching a brand new initiative in reference to domestic violence and has including some partners, some community partners out here as well. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that because I'm very sensitive to this issue. I do have with me at present Forrest Edwards, and Forrest is an attorney. And he is working with the Memphis Police Department in reference to this particular issue. And if we get, we're supposed to have Lieutenant Gloria Suggs, but if she checks in, we will bring her in the conversation. But Forrest, it is great to have you on the show. How are you tonight?
I'm great, Chip. Thanks for having me.
Man, thanks for being here. So listen, I saw you, the news story about all of this about a week and a half or so ago. Tell me a little bit about this initiative and some of the community partners and why this is such a focus now for the Memphis Police Department.
So, Chip, I think you hit the nail right on the head when you said that domestic violence is becoming more and more prevalent, and it is the crime that affects us closest to home because it's crime committed by either our loved ones or our family members. And Chief Davis realizes this, and we launched an initiative about a week ago called our Memphis Police Department Domestic Violence Priority Offender Initiative. And that is a initiative to identify and prosecute the most repeat violent domestic violence offenders. We thought that it would be a good idea to bring in every agency that has a part in domestic violence crime and victims' rights and prosecuting and law enforcement, and have them all in one room and kind of come up with a game plan for when and if the next time some of these repeat violent offenders commit another crime, we have a coordinated action that we can act as one cohesive unit to address the new crime. And so just quickly, the agencies involved in this initiative by Memphis Police Department are our own Memphis Police Department Domestic Violence Bureau, our Fugitive Unit, our Project Safe Neighborhoods Unit, the United States Attorney's Office, the Shelby County District Attorney's Office, the U.S. Probation, and then Tennessee Department of Corrections Probation and Parole, as well as Family Safety Center. So Chief Davis thought it would be best to have a very holistic approach at how we look at this. The Family Safety Center we're proud to partner with to help these survivors of domestic violence obtain resources that they desperately need when they fall victim to one of these crimes. And that could mean temporary housing, counseling, and then I'm excited to discuss how we're really thinking outside the box with this initiative to take some of these domestic violence cases federally. Yeah,
one thing that you said, and I'm not sure, I think I got a note that said that Lieutenant Suggs might be on. I'm not sure. Is she, Brent? You don't see her? Okay. One of the things that you mentioned that caught my ear, and in the story, you talked about repeat offenders. And I know as a result of this initiative, you caught someone a week or so ago that was a repeat offender. And that was a big get. And I think maybe a lot had to do with a lot of the resources that you all were pouring into this, trying to find those individuals. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. So Cedric McGee, we launched this initiative about a week ago. Cedric McGee is a individual we identified as a prolific domestic violence offender. In his lifetime, he's been arrested 58 times.
Wow.
He's been convicted of 4 felonies, 24 misdemeanor convictions, many of those domestic related. He had warrants for his arrest at the time that we identified him and launched this initiative. Within a few days of the launch, our Memphis Police Department fugitive unit had researched him and taken him into custody. Simultaneous with his going into custody, we created an alert system. And what that alert system does is it is an email that goes out anytime an individual that we've identified comes into contact with the police. If they're booked into jail, released from jail, call 911, their address comes up, we get a instant alert, and it allows us to immediately act as one cohesive unit with all of those agencies. So in Cedric McGee's case, Memphis police fugitive arrested him. He was on probation. That triggered an immediate violation of his probation. And then I was able to actually call the judicial commissioner before his bail was set, let them know about his prior arrest history, conviction history, and argue for the appropriate bond, which in this case, his probation was violated, and on the new charge, he received a $100,000 bond, and he remains in custody to this day.
Yeah, that's a very, very big deal. And once again, if Lieutenant Suggs is, we're looking and trying to see if she is in our waiting room, and if he is before the interview is over, we will try to get her on. This is
she is trying. I'm seeing her texting me, trying to get back in. So
okay. Well, in reference to this case that you just mentioned, this guy was a serial offender, obviously. Is it fair to ask the question, in terms of the research and looking at some of these individuals in question, are most of them repeat offenders when it comes to domestic violence acts?
Yes, they are. And we're looking at lots of different data sets, whether it be arrests, whether they're gang affiliated, whether they have active or pending cases, if they're on probation and parole. We have even identified some prolific offenders that are incarcerated, and we're geared up waiting on them to be released. We have the projected date of release, and they're on our radar, and we're going to be closely monitoring them for any time that they could reoffend. So you don't necessarily just have to be out of custody. You can be serving a sentence for domestic related offenses and be getting out, also to be on our radar.
This is a very big deal, and I'm sure to a lot of people who might be listening, this is something that is extraordinarily important. I'll ask you this, as a prosecutor, what is your message, and what is the message that Chief Davis and the Memphis Police Department are trying to put out in reference to anyone who is convicted of a domestic violence charge? What is your message to these individuals?
So, Chip, as a former prosecutor who now works for Memphis Police Department and loving every moment of it,
right?
My message would be that the domestic violence has to stop. If you are a perpetrator of domestic violence, you are on our radar. You're under a microscope. You have a litany of agencies that are ready and willing to seek justice for the survivors of these acts that you're committing. For the victims, your cries have been heard, your 911 calls and your requests for help have been answered. We will dedicate every available resource. We will leverage every available resource to seek justice on your behalf and have the violence end.
Well, listen, man, commending you and commending Lieutenant Suggs and commending Chief Davis and the entire Memphis Police Department for addressing this issue head on. It sounds like you're very, very serious. And if anybody doesn't think so, just look back about what happened about a week or so ago. Really appreciate your efforts. We want to keep tabs on you and find out as this year moves along, time moves along, how you and the other community partners are doing in trying to really put a cap on all of this domestic violence that we see way too often. But I really appreciate your time coming on the show tonight and really laying it out and explaining it for us. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The Memphis Police Department is putting out the all-call bulletin to anybody out there who thinks it is that they can get away with harming another individual in their family, in their home. Domestic violence is an extraordinarily serious situation. It is done by people who are familiar with one another. There are so many people who are victims who are looking for help and looking for support in this. And the Memphis Police Department is taking this one head on and saying, if you want to be an offender, go ahead. But guess what? You're on our radar, and we're going to stop you before you hurt somebody else. We'll take another break. And when we come back, we will continue on this Monday edition of Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. You know who you are. Hey, we'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Did you know when you purchase a specialty arts license plate, you're supporting the Tennessee Arts Commission and organizations like WYXR? It's easy. Just take your old plate to your county clerk and swap it out, or choose the arts plate when it's time for renewal. Show your love for WYXR and other Tennessee arts organizations by visiting tnspecialtyplates.org.
I'm Patrick Tamburino, host of the Techno Strategist podcast. Join me as we navigate the ever-evolving world of IT managed services and beyond. We'll explore everything from selecting the ideal tech partner to the forefront of cutting-edge technologies, all infused with my own unique perspective and hopefully a touch of humor. Don't forget to tune in to the Techno Strategist on the WYXR Podcast Network. For more information, head over to WYXR.org.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you, and very happy to have my next guest with me. She is quickly becoming one of my favorites on the Memphis City Council, and I love having her on the show because I love her passion, and it is very evident in what she does, how she speaks, and how passionate she is about the city that she represents. Please welcome to the show our good friend, Yolanda Cooper Sutton, City Councilwoman, Memphis, City of Memphis. And we said it off the air, but I'll say it on the air. Happy New Year, my friend. How are you?
Happy New Year, Chip, and I'm doing super amazing. How are you?
Doing all right. And I really appreciate you taking some time to come on the show tonight and talk about a few things. We hadn't had a city check-in for a while, and there are a few things that I wanted to ask you about. Even though I start here, even though it is not directly impacting you from a city council perspective, you are a citizen and you are paying very close attention to what is happening with the Memphis and Shelby County School District, who are having a very critical and crucial vote tomorrow on the future of our superintendent. A lot of the public are very angry about this. A lot of people don't understand what is going on. But at the end of the day, we have to think about the fact that this is impacting our young people. And I wanted to kind of get your take on it as a citizen and as someone who is politically aware and watching this. What do you think about all this?
Well, at this point, as a citizen, I wear dual. I'm a city council and I'm a citizen. And when I hear my neighbors and talk about their children and their education, and I see the state of education here in Memphis, it saddens me tremendously. When I even hold conversation with adults here in Memphis, it saddens me to see how far behind this education system here in Memphis, one of the largest. And I must not leave out $1 billion budget, not $1 million, but $1 billion budget. Speaks volumes to me. It saddens me that we're here, but everything has to do what it needs to do to get better. So hopefully it gets better. Hopefully they will come to a reasonable agreement in some type of way, shape, or form. But I'm going to say this, and I will stick my neck out and say this. The people voice matters. The people who elected us in these positions matters. What they say matters. How they feel about their children and how they feel about this city matters. That's what we are elected there for, to hear the voice of our constituents. And they do and will someday have the power to recall us and remove us if we don't listen.
Well, that is a very interesting take. And of course, I know you heard the first interview with State Representative GA Hardaway. Let me ask you about something that is more focused on what you all deal with the city. And that's MATA. MATA is still an issue. We read recently that they have about 1 month worth in terms of finances and things like that. Now, recently, their board voted to, appoint 3 individuals from this company that's supposed to be kind of overseeing things, and put them in the position of CEO and a couple of other high-profile positions. First of all, what do you think about all of that? And there's a pretty stiff cost that is going to be had in terms of these, something close to about $1.3 million before it's all said and done.
Well, I do know this, Chip, just like you know and everyone else knows in this city, that MATA has been in trouble for a very long time.
Right.
And it's not an overnight fix. It's not going to be an overnight fix. And so the choices that the mayor has made as far as his board members and they came before us, and this trans pro that is looking and who they're planning on taking their places, and the cost of things. I know all of this is scary. Everything that's going on in Memphis right now is scary, fearful, because we've never been here before. And so not being somewhere before and not really knowing the stance to take is it can be costly. It can be tricky, but we have to trust the process. And I know the people are just not really, as far as MATA is concerned, there's just not enough faith in what has happened through the many, many years. I've been here a year, I've listened, I've watched, and it is cringing to know and to see the state that we're in. I don't think, and this is just, I don't believe, being very prayerful, that the workers are in trouble. I think that they're going to get a plan to work out to make sure that everyone continues to work.
Well, that is, as you said, that is something that has been going on for a long time, and it does leave a lot of people frustrated. Hopefully the board, along with the guidance and help of the city council, can get this thing up on the right track. Recently, we heard that COGIC, the COGIC convention after this year, we've lost it back to St. Louis. They're moving back to St. Louis starting next year for the next 3 years. Now, this is the birthplace of COGIC, and it is a big blow economically to our city. And I just kind of wanted to get your take on all of this in terms of, and more importantly than that, after that, I'd like to hear from you what it will take for our city to be as competitive as other cities are and bring some of these major conventions back to Memphis.
It was very disappointing to hear that this would be the last year that COGIC would be here. And once again, we're back at decades and decades of not up to speed and up to par, not in the 21st century. The people and the powers to be that were long before me, they saw all of this coming down the road and no one did anything. And so now it's, what we're going to do. And so this city is not totally conference ready for what COGIC needs and what other big conferences need. And so until the powers to be and the powers that want to be and our city officials really understand the magnitude of where we are and where they want to see this city moving forward to, are going to have to be more innovative and change their mindset. And it's going to have to be more than one player and a few families in the game.
Yeah, this is something I think for a lot of people, that have been, like you said, been talking about this. It's been going on for a very long time. And it seems, though, that we have had to almost beg those folks to come back here, to stay here. There's always seems like there's been an economic fight with the hoteliers around here, some of the restaurants places as well. And a lot of the saints, if you will, don't feel as if they've been treated fair in this process. But like you say, if the city wants to be a competitive force, which I know Mayor Young wants, we're going to have to step up, aren't we?
We're going to have to step the game up. I'm talking about step it up to a level that we can come competitive. And it's going to take dollars to do it, to make that happen. And once again, I'm going to still say it. And, hey, whatever have the chips may fall. I've watched this city from the back door, and now I'm inside the house. Mm-hmm. Okay? And so if you're going to change the game, you're going to have to change some of the players.
Okay.
And that's just simple as that. And so what I found out is, and it's very heart-wrenching because this is a predominantly Black city, and most African Americans are very poor here. We know what the poverty numbers look like. We can say that all day. But until we change the narrative of the mindset and the way we think, and stop allowing and stop being puppets, and let's just go for the grand, and let's just make it happen. But until you change the players, so you got old players still thinking the same way and want all the money. I pray that my next 3 years, I've made 1 year, that we see a difference. And this old money that's here will step up their game and really take a heart and say, we really want to see this city grow. We really want to see Memphis grow like a Nashville, like an Atlanta, Georgia. You can talk it all day, but you got to be about it. And you got to put it on pencil and paper. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am, I do. Listen, I always appreciate you. I love having you on this show because you tell the truth, and we need to hear more truth out here. And I really appreciate your time. Thank you for being with me tonight. You'll be back. You'll be getting a call from me before the year's out. But I really appreciate you. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful 2025. And I look forward to us chatting again down the road.
Well, thank you for always having me, and thank you for trusting me and for allowing me to trust me to talk to your audience and to be truthful with them. I don't have anything to lose. I've already been bought with a price, and it's by Jesus Christ.
Amen.
I love you, Chip.
I love you too. Take care of yourself. Thank you so much
You
for
too.
being with us. All right.
You're so welcome.
Yes. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we had a little preaching there at the end of the broadcast. As Brent plays us out, that was a good show. If I do say so myself, I thank all my guests for being here this evening. I hope you got a lot of good information, out of it. Thank you, Memphis, and whomever else is listening out there for supporting the show. Really appreciate you. Really appreciate everything that you bring to the program. Lord says so. We'll be back here next week, same time, same station. Try to do it all over again a little bit better. In the meantime, for Lola, for Brent, and for come on Lola, you're in there somewhere. I know you're there. Thank you, and God bless you. And until next time, we are out.